Hi everyone, welcome back to Mismatched Trish. Today I am changing it up a little bit. I'm doing the ebook reader tag from the channel Micah Cummins. I'm not planning to tag anyone, however, if you see this video and would like to do the tag, definitely do the video and even post a link to it in the comments and I will be sure to check it out. Also, make sure to check out Micah Cummins' channel as well, especially his video on the ebook reader tag. First question with this tag is, what was the first e-reader you ever owned? What was your reason for getting one? Were you a reluctant convert or an eager one? So I actually still have it. I don't know why, because it doesn't work anymore. I tried charging it one time, and I don't know if it just didn't hold the charge or if it wasn't the right charger port or what. But I just don't know what to do with it. I think it was a third generation Kindle. So I had a couple of reasons for getting one. I was definitely reluctant about it when I first heard about them. I was just like, whatever, that's not my thing. I'm not going to do it. And then one of my friends, I was in college at the time, and one of my friends who was an English major got one and was obsessed with it and was telling us all about it and how you could get classics for free because they were in the public domain. And she had saved a bunch of money since these were books that she had to read anyways, and how she just really loved it, loved having the experience. I was like, maybe I should reconsider it. So I mentioned it to my mom, who said that she was thinking about getting me one for Christmas. And then I was home for break one time. I think this is kind of what sealed it. I was home for break one time, and I had the urge to read the Harry Potter books, but I didn't know where they were. So I had to go like digging through my stuff that was all packed up. And I think I did eventually find them, but I remember digging through boxes trying to find it, thinking, this would be a whole lot easier if I had one of those Kindle thingies. Two is, what e-reader do you use now? What e-readers do you own? So the two I use now are both Kindle Fires. I don't know much more about them than that. This one I got it as a Christmas gift for my mother-in-law in 2015. It still works just fine. It doesn't have a whole lot of space on it, so it's hard to have very many apps on it. But it works really well. I haven't really noticed much of a decline since I first got it, and it was brand new. It still holds battery charge pretty well. I'm still able to read for quite a bit on it. I think I read a novella on it this morning. It was fully charged, and it still has 75% of the battery life. So it still works really well. And then the other one I have, this is... my husband had it, and then he started using an iPad instead, so he asked if I wanted it. I think the battery's dead on it. I haven't charged it in a while. But it's another Kindle Fire, a much larger one. So these are the only three that I own, and two of them I still use. Do you read digitally on multiple devices, or are you always on the same device? If you use multiple, how do you decide which one to use? So I do read on multiple devices. I read on both my Kindle Fires. It's basically just a matter of which one's more convenient. Usually I'll just go with whichever one is fully charged. However, if I'm out of town, I always take this one since it's smaller and more convenient. And the other thing is, since it is smaller, I tend to read on this one more even when I'm home, just because it's more convenient. Do you still read physical books? If so, how do you decide which format to read a certain book in? Yes, I do the vast majority of my reading on physical books, either books that I own or that I get physical copies of from the library. Most of the time, if I read digital, it's because that's the version that the library had available, or I already own it, or it was a book I wanted to read and it was cheaper to get it on Kindle than it was to get the physical copy of it. So I tend to prefer physical and usually only do digital if it's the better option, if it's the more convenient option. What is something you dislike about reading ebooks? I don't really feel like I own the book, even if I did pay for it, because there's always the risk that the file could no longer be compatible, or they could make changes to it. there's been so many books that like I got, especially like ones that I got for free in an ebook version, and I downloaded it, and then I just didn't think about it, because then you haven't read the version in a while, it goes to the bottom of your list, and so then you have to scroll through all these books. So it can be hard to keep track of what you own and don't own, and I just don't feel like I own the book. And I am one of those people that like I enjoy the experience of reading a physical book much more. Would you ever ditch physical books completely and become a sole ebook reader? If yes, why? If no, why not? No. I still like physical books. Most of the books that I own are physical. Most of the ones I get from the library are physical. I think there would be a big issue if we just completely ditched physical books in favor of ebooks, because then what if someone doesn't own an e-reader or have a smartphone that they can get the Kindle book on? Then they lose access to so many books that way, that I think physical books are with us to stay, and I personally prefer that experience better. So I would not switch completely to ebooks. Where do you get your ebooks? Kindle store, library loans, third-party websites. For the most part, I get them through the Libby app from my library. My library happens to have a really good selection of ebooks. There has been very few books that they did not have either a physical copy or an ebook copy of. So I definitely prefer using library loans. I do own quite a few, and if it's something like an independently published book, I usually get that on an ebook as an ebook, because it won't be available through my library, and it's generally cheaper that way, especially if it goes on sale. There's been a few independent ones that they ran specials, so I was able to get it for free or 99 cents. So I've purchased those through the Kindle store. I don't have any experience with third-party websites. I've never used that before. And then finally, tag some fellow booktubers. Like I said, I'm not going to tag anyone in this. If you would like to do this tag, definitely do it and post a link to your video. I look forward to watching all of those. And happy Bookmas, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.